Hello, everybody. My name is Emilio Garcia. Welcome to this, the first webinar that we are having on this 2020 from Boundify. And today we are going to talk about the CMS, HubSpot CMS, and how to understand the fundamentals for marketeers, for people that work on the day-to-day, bring in marketing ideas, how they can take advantage of this powerful tool. So I'm just going to start sharing my screen here for a little while, and in the meantime, wait for anyone that is joining live to this first presentation. Of course, the slides and information that we are going to share today will be available for later on demand. So if for whatever reason you cannot, you can join today or you join later, you can always rehearse this part later on. So with that being said, let me start sharing here and sharing my screen. Application. Hopefully technology will not fail us today. And I am sharing my screen right now. Very good. And I will share to the presentation. Very well. Well, for today, our focus will be again on the HubSpot CMS for marketeers, how you can take advantage of it. And this is me, Emilio Garcia, from Boundify. We are a B2B marketing agency. We primarily focus on demand generation, and it's mostly technology companies, manufacturing companies. And I would love to connect with you on LinkedIn if you are active on that social media platform. There's a little QR code here. And again, the presentation you can download or just find me on LinkedIn as E. Garcia Bass. And I would love to connect there. So let's start right away. If some of you are already here and you mind sharing with me on the chat some of your roles and responsibilities, what do you do and what kind of company do you work for? And if you have any experience with HubSpot CMS so far, I would love to know, any experience that you have with it, or in particular with HubSpot, or in general with any other CMS, WordPress, Drupal, any other CMS that you have worked in the past. And if you have anything that you want to accomplish in today, just let me know, and that will be helpful. I can personalize or customize the presentation to whatever questions you have. If not, we will run through our standard agenda, and hopefully it will be of value to you today and down the road. So if you share that with me, that will be great. If not, let's try it right away. Today we have a very ambitious agenda. Hopefully we can cover it all, but we are going to focus on 4 main topics. The first one would be the fundamentals about HubSpot CMS, what it is, how it works. The next one will be a little dive into website pages, landing pages, blog pages, how they work, and what are the criteria to use them. And the third one is going to be how do you organize and manage the assets that you usually have on the HubSpot CMS. And finally, if we have time, we will cover the general principles on how to navigate the HubSpot marketplace, where you can actually get templates for website pages, for blogs, for landing pages, if you don't want to develop on your own or hire an agent to do so. So these are going to be the 4 areas. This whole webinar is based on on a course on the HubSpot Academy. It's named HubSpot CMS for Marketeers. Actually, this is a link that will send you there. It's not a certification, but the course covers a more ample set of things. It runs deeper. I'm just taking a few bites of it that I think are worth exploring as an introductory course. So if you are interested, you can just go there and take that course too, of course. And it will be very helpful, I'm sure. All right, let us go into the first stage on the fundamentals of the HubSpot CMS. At any time, if you have any questions, you just let me know. I will try to get back and forth on the screen if there's any questions. I will be delighted to answer them. So what is HubSpot CMS? Well, it's very similar to other CMSs in the sense that it's a place where you can store or host pages, website pages. Probably the best reference that most people have is WordPress, which is quite popular. And so HubSpot CMS, in a sense, something like WordPress, where you can host your website and you can do more things, especially related to SEO and membership and other kind of very advanced things like tables and managing databases. But in general, I would say that HubSpot try to be an all-in-one system where you can create, manage, optimize, and track the performance of your website. And what I mean by creating, you can create web pages, you can create landing pages and blog pages, and we will dive into a little bit into what is the difference between the three concepts. You can manage your assets, right? Images, videos, documents, whatever you need to host that complements your website that are part of the pages. Obviously, you manage the pages and the blog pages, and you can optimize, usually for search engines, but sometimes for paid advertising campaigns in the case of landing pages too. So they perform better, they're faster, and they have, are crawlable enough that you can rank higher on the search engines. And finally, the website for most companies nowadays, it's a way of bring leads, or a way to bring generate demand. So it allows you to track and report on the performance of landing pages or the performance of blogs in terms of visitors, contacts, and many more things. You really take advantage of all the features available for marketing and for sales that you can take advantage on the CMS. So in general, I would say that is what HubSpot CMS compromised for. Now, some of the key features that make it stand out, especially when compared to other solutions where you have to already add those extra features if you need them, is that it has automatic SSL provisioning, which is important because nowadays that will give your website the secure icon, the little lock. So web browsers and users know that your website is more secure than one that doesn't have that feature. It includes firewall and smart routing, again, to improve security. It uses the global content delivery network like other kind of website that allows to serve the content faster because it's closer to the user. And it has another improvements or features related to speed that we are not obviously going to dive into, but it minifies JavaScript and combines CSS, which allows for faster websites because they're just pretty much smaller. Obviously, also another big function of speed is how fast do you load images, and so it includes an automatic image compression, which is important because most users usually just upload an image and they don't pay attention maybe, or are not aware that you need to upload an optimized version for mobile versus desktop, for example. So HubSpot will do it for you. Another overlooked feature, one that is really, really important, is that you have a system where your website is also connected or integrated with the CRM, which is free on HubSpot. So you will be able to have the website information when people visit and combine it or integrate it with your customer database, which is really, really important. You will be able to know when a customer visits the website, how many times they do. You will be able to change the content based on who is visiting, which is also relevant because that provides a more relevant experience for the user. And obviously, you can track the buyer journey over time. So that's another overlooked feature, probably the biggest reason you will want to migrate to something like HubSpot CMS if you already have one, or if you have a marketing program in the future that you want to implement. Having connected those two systems is quite relevant. Now, what is included, and we will walk through these tools very fast through our own portal so you can have an idea. But the CMS is composed of all these elements. It has something called the domain manager, where you manage the domains that you're going to connect to the platform. Allows you to have an area called design tools, where you can pretty much design or create templates and modules that you will use to create your pages. It has obviously an area where you can actually create the final landing pages, the web pages, allows you to manage the blog in a section that you can do that. It has something called file manager, where you can manage all those assets and photos. And obviously you have an area where you can select the different settings mostly for search engine. It has an area for SEO optimization, and where you can match the keywords that you want to rank for with the pages that you have. And finally, it offers you a marketplace where you can find already pre-built templates and modules that you can get for free or paid from different providers. So let us dive a little bit into that. I have a portal here, and let us go first to our domain manager. So this is the area, the domain manager. As you can see here, you can use this to connect your domain to the website pages, to the blog, to the landing pages. It's a very powerful feature because it allows you to select different subdomains for different kind of areas. Like you might have your website on www. And you might have your blog on blog or info or something like that. And your landing pages can be another subdomain. That allows you to transfer or migrate content on your own page. Maybe you just want to use HubSpot at the beginning to host landing pages, and eventually you want to move your whole blog, or you eventually want to move the whole website. You can do that on stages. And depending on the version that you have, you might be able also to connect other domains to the platform to implement other websites. On the enterprise version of it, you are allowed to connect multiple domains. Obviously, here you can also manage redirections if you have other domains in the past, and you can configure all the email parts. So when you are sending emails from the platform, they will be authenticated with email marketing tool. So the buyers, the customers or the clients don't see those emails going to spam. So it has very powerful features here. You can manage all the redirects, which is a very important SEO feature. If your page changes and you need to send traffic from an old URL to a new one, you can manage all that process here. You can also manage, if you have a website with multiple languages, you can pre-select what domains or subdomains are in what languages, and it will make sure that in the background those required metadata to reflect that, and you can manage your sitemap. Another important thing to, for crawlers, that allows you to expose which pages you want the crawlers to see and which pages you don't want them to look at. Like, for example, landing pages are usually not part of the navigation. So you have this powerful set of features where you can control everything related to domain. Now, the next tool, design tools, let's take a look at here. It's under files and templates on the menu of marketing. You navigate into design tools. And it's a very interesting area. We will dive in a little bit on it, but it's just like a file manager. Here is where you host your templates and modules. You can see here it has a view on the left where you can go through folders and find files. And if you are selecting one template, you will be able to view, edit, and change all of that on this interface. Most of the time, design tools is a tool for developers, not for marketeers. The usual flow is that the developer design, purchase, or edit the templates and modules, and then it makes them available to the marketeer through the website, landing page, and blog pages. So usually you will not, if you are a marketeer or the business owner, you will not spend that much of time here where you actually set up the content or the design. You will spend more time on the section related to adding the content. But this is the design tool. Now, where you actually create the pages is on this section under marketing. You have 3 areas. They're separated. You have web pages, you have landing pages, and you have the blog. So let us dive a little bit on it. for the website area, they're very similar. The tree of areas will be, you have a little tab on top of here, and you will be able to see your pages, and you will be able to see the status, and we will cover that in a little bit. And you will be able to filter and search, and you will be able to see the pages that you have for your website versus the pages that you have for landing pages versus the pages that you have for your blog. There are differences, and we will explore each of them. But the whole idea is here that you can have those separated, and you can create new ones using this button, obviously, and selecting and picking up the template that you want to use. But you have that available. Now, make sure there's no questions. No, very well. We have covered landing pages, website, blogs. Now you have the file manager, and the file manager, which is also on files and templates, is here. Have files, and so allows you to manage and store all the assets that your website will use. The best example would be images. The images that you will use in your blog, for example, the images that you will use on your website, for example, too. Videos, documents that you might want to share on a specific page will be available. All the images that you use for social media posting will be on this area. And we will explore a little bit more about this down the road, but this is where you store that information. You can organize this in the form of folders and have access to stock images if you want to. That's a complementary feature of that. Very well. Then you have the website settings. If you click on the gear and you go to the section called website, here's where you will find those settings. And it's divided in 3 sections. You will have settings to manage the blog. So you will be able to create new blogs and change the information of the existing ones, like selecting the template that you want to use for them. If you have any special scripts that you want to use for either the pages or the listing pages, you will be able to do here. You will be able to manage the subscriptions of people that want to subscribe to your blog. You will be able to manage the format and languages that you want to use, manage all the comments, that you, if you want to allow them, allow comments on your blog, and how many of them, for how long, and who's going to get notified. All of that you can manage here. And you can also manage the social media aspect. When you share a piece of blog, if it's going to be auto-published on your social media accounts and or not. And finally, there's a feature that, in my case, we don't use, but some users do. If you are a fan of Google AMP, a speedy kind of like website, you can control that and set it up for the whole website or for individual pages at blog page level. So you have all these for blogs, and there's a similar set of features to manage the navigation. You can work on menus on a page level, but if you have menus that all cover the whole website, like your main website, web navigation menu, usually those are managed here. You can control the hierarchy and decide how you're gonna name the menus and what is gonna be linked to, and you can have multiple ones. And finally, the last piece is controlling the pages, and this is more about the SEO aspect of the website in general. If you have scripts, if you want to control the styling, the branding, right, above the general website, if you want to control integrations with Google Analytics or similar tools, this can be done here. And rules for SEO and crawlers will be included here. And also the system pages, the pages that people see when there's errors, or when it's an opportunity, or when someone is trying to enter a password or search for the website in general. You will control those features here. And all these things, all these features that you can control for the website can be defined for all domains or for specific subdomains that you can have, that you might have connected. So you can be very specific on your settings. Very well. Let us see the SEO aspect. This is a very powerful one. So if you go to planning and strategy within the marketing section, you will find this section called SEO, where you will be able to explore recommendations and SEO for the website. And I'll give you an example of how it looks like. It will give you very much like tools like SEMrush and Moz. It will give you a recommendation of the things that you need to address for in general for the website. And also will have an area where you can develop this very HubSpot influence idea of the topic cluster, having a cluster of content and held by blog posts. So if you are building topic clusters, you will be able here to see the structure of your cluster, and you will be able to see the performance too. And so this will help you to build your SEO strategy right into the CMS, which is also very helpful, because at the end of the day, most of the times you want to use the CMS to work on your marketing strategy, to bring qualified traffic in the form of SEO traffic or traffic from SEO efforts, and that is really helpful. And finally, the last tool that you will have available is the marketplace. Now they have moved it here, this little store symbol here. If you click on assets, asset marketplace, you will be able to see the marketplace where you can purchase or download for free. You can see here you have options, multiple templates. And we will dive a little bit into it, but later on, you can see you have by type and layouts and different features, and you will see reviews and how many people have downloaded, and all of this, if you download, will be on the design tool section, so you can use it to create pages. Very well. So that's in general what is included on the HubSpot CMS. And let us dive in then into templates and modules. I'm just gonna make sure that if we have any questions, we don't. Very well. Good. Now, let us go into the template. What exactly is a template? Well, it's a file where you control or you define the layout, the style, and the functionality that your pages are gonna have. So one important thing to remember is that every page that you publish on the CMS, is created using a template. So there's this relationship between templates and pages, but it's not one-on-one. Meaning one template is required for publishing a page, but a template can be used for many pages. One example would be the service page. If you have multiple services, probably you want the same layout to describe each of the service, like having a hero, having a call to action, having some social proof. But obviously each service is going to be different, and you want to change the content and maybe change the images, and therefore we'll have different pages with different URLs. So you will have one template, and that template will be used to feed all those pages. So that's one thing that you will use on the design tools. And the other one will be the modules, which are blocks of content that can take various forms. It can be text, it can be image, and like templates and pages, the relationship between modules and templates is one to many. For example, you might have a piece of content that is, for example, for social proof, you might have an image, you might have a headline, a description, which pretty much describe and let me put you an example here, describe a social proof. And if you're going to use that piece of element a lot of times like this, right? The same elements, you have a little icon, you have copy here, you have the name of a person, then you can just create a module out of this, and you might reuse it in many places. So modules can be in many templates, and therefore a module can be used for many pages. And a good example, a good graphical example of how this looks like will be this one, right? It's good to think of templates and modules in this way. Modules are the building blocks of the templates, and templates are the blueprints of pages, right? If we borrow from this idea of architecture, it will be like building blocks, so you can build your templates, and the templates are the blueprint. It's not the final version, but it's how it's supposed to look like, and then you complement with content. Let us see what kind of templates you might have. So there are basically three types. You might have page templates, which are the use they're going to use on landing pages and web pages. They are very similar. Mostly the main difference is that landing page templates usually do not have navigation and are very focused on conversion. And website pages usually form part of the website and have navigation, and they are built to explore, to extend the explanation, and to people to scroll and move and watch videos and all that. Blog templates are a little bit different because they are usually structured in a way that you can list blog posts and build usually for SEO. So they have a different configuration. Usually you want people to be able to subscribe to the blog, to comment on it, to see related blogs. So it has a little more of a complexity embedded into it. And finally, the system pages, or the system templates, I'm sorry, are those that you use to show up error pages, password subscriptions, search pages. They are part of the system. And usually a user ends up on them when they want to do something like subscribing or unsubscribing, or they fail to find a page. So you have those three types. And for modules, we have basically two kinds. You have default modules and custom ones. The default ones are the ones included on HubSpot already. They are built or pre-built and very common of use, like a text, image, headers. And the custom ones are ones that a developer can build for you, or you can purchase from other providers and use for specific cases. Again, examples would be a module for the team member, a module for a custom banner or a hero banner, or an image that do something special. And we will show some example of that. So where do you create your templates? Well, the tool where you create the templates is the design tool. That's where you create them, and they will be available for the content editors. So I will use some reference here for you to look at. Let's dive into files and templates. Let's go to design tools and get a feel of the architecture. So for example, you can see usually you will have on the design tools, either from the developer or from a provider, you will have a similar structure to this one, where you will have in folders what templates are for blogs, what templates are for web pages, what templates are for system pages, and for landing pages, and so forth. So let me show you the first one. So let's see, this is, for example, the template that we have for a home page. So you can see that we have some modules here that control the header and the search. There's a special module here called the hero banner. And you can see this is structure where we have 12 rows, and we can divide them into sections or columns. And there's a lot of opportunity to do CSS and all that. So it's basically shaped like a box, and the sections are you can see here modules for images, modules. These are special modules for quotes and so forth, until you have the footer and some JavaScript. Now you might say, well, Emilio, this makes no sense. All the things I'm seeing here are squares. You can click here on the preview to give you an idea of how this would look like, right? And so this is how it ended up being, right? That navigation that we saw, the hero banner, these are the modules that we have for the cards and other modules here. The social proof, the footer is all this, right? You have it here available. Again, the intention of this exercise is not to dive a lot into this, but just for you to remember that, for example, in this template, you might have one or more pages that are related to that. You can see here that, for example, for this template, we have one page, the home page, that is connected to this template. And this template is using some of these modules. So we have the pages here. The only difference between this one and, for example, the blog post, you will see that the template for the blogs is a more complex one. Is way more extensive, because it will have all that behavior built in to manage things like related blogs and what happened when people click on the listing and all that. You will have a section for coded files like the CSS, the styling, and you will have a section for those special modules called global groups, right? So here is the section for the error pages, and all of these are templates that will be exposed to you on the page, website pages and section for you to explore. Again, usually as a marketeer, you will not expend a lot of time here, maybe doing minor changes. Usually someone else will do them for you and make the content available. Very well. Now, let us jump into actually using the pages and the blogging on HubSpot and how it works. We will try to cover these two broad topics, which are blog pages and landing pages. And for blog pages, why you should have them or use them, and how do you create ones. And for landing pages will be very similar. Why should you have them, and how do you use them and create content on them. So let's start with blog pages. Why do you want to have a blog post? Well, the main reason is that blogging is mostly the way that you get to work on content that will rank you on the search engines, right? Nowadays is not enough or try to rank to just have website, because those pages have a lot of commercial intent. You're required to create content that attracts visitors and answer questions as they go along the buyer journey. One of the best ways to do that is to create content in the form of blog posts. So for example, here you can see I'm visiting the blog post. You will see that I have a Boundify blog and that we have multiple pages, and creating a page is quite easy. You click the create page here and you click the blog post, and you can decide if you want to start from something called draft mode or actually go dive into the editing like the page will look like. Draft mode is helpful when you still don't have a good idea of more than the title maybe and some outline. So if you are working on a new idea, like let us put here, pay tools for marketeers, and you have an outline maybe at the beginning, right? Why do you need tools? You can work on this very clean space where you are not worried about images and how it's going to look finally and all that. So you can start here, work your way, maybe go back and forth with the creator, sharing the content. And if you have a target for the amount of keywords, of the amount of words that you want to write on, you will be able to do that. And eventually you can migrate it into what the blog post will look like, right? And as you can see here, now I have the same content, but now it's laid out and formatted based on the template that the blog is using. That template, if you click here on settings, you will be able to see what template are you using on the advanced section option. And as you can see, I'm using the BDF Act 2 blog, and you can change that or edit this template, and it will change how the blog post look like, right? So usually you have some elements that you can edit here, like the title, and some that are already pre-built based, for example, on the fact that I am in the author and the date that I will be creating this blog post will be updated if I schedule or publish it eventually. And so those elements are going to be pre-built already, like this one for social sharing or subscribing. These are not editable. Like the comment section is neither. And you will be able to see here the modules that you can edit. That in this case is usually the content that you have, and you can keep adding more. Why do you need tools? How to start, right? And you will be also able to work on a potential title for your blog. You will be able to change your final URL that you will use. There's obviously a section that is already predetermined, which is the domain on the blog, that if you already have selected this blog, but you can change the rest of the URL, change the author, add some tags to categorize that content, and you can add a meta description. which will be helpful for search engines. You can make it part of a campaign if you're working on something bigger, and you can define something called feature image, which is the image that usually will be associated with the social posting or when you share on social media. So whenever you are ready, you can decide to publish the blog right now, or you can schedule it for a future date, and it will be published at that date and time. And here you can see the connections. Another great thing that this tool have is that if you are working on the tool and you want to optimize it for search engines, you will have this neat set of recommendations where you can work on, for example, the content has too long. If the title is too long, you will have recommendations here. Recommendations about the links that you have, the description, the images. So this is a kind of like an SEO help on page. If you tie this information to a topic cluster, and therefore this is part of a subtopic or cluster, it will be able to tell you what kind of keywords is recommended that you add. You don't have to comply to these 100%, but it's usually a great tool to allow you to do a better work at blogging, not just publishing. And finally, if you are worried about how this blog post is going to look like on different areas on different devices, you can do it here. You can see previews of how it's going to look like, and you can see both the main list and the blog itself, right? How it's going to look like, and you can preview as a specific contact if you need to share this with someone else but it's not proficient on HubSpot, you can share a preview that it will give you a URL and someone else will be able to see and judge the content by themselves directly. So it's a very powerful tool that allows you to create this blog post. And as you can see, once you have the template, you just concentrate yourself on having that great content and have those images, and the rest will look and feel the same as the rest of the blogs. You can see here how it looks like at the end. For example, let us go to our blog, right? So this is how it looks like, and it's using the common thing. So this is the part that we concentrate in, building the content, and then you have the standard call to action, and it's offering you more content related to that, and you can subscribe and you can comment. So it's a pretty neat, in this case, pretty neat template where you just focus on the content. Very well. Is there any questions? No? Very well. Now, let us dive into landing pages, which is very similar to web pages. But why would you need a landing page? Well, usually is because landing pages allow you to make offers. A good example would be if you have an ebook to offer, or if you have a consultation, usually you will put those on a landing page and not a web page. It will lack navigation. It will allow the client the visitor to focus on the action they want to take. And creating them is quite simple too. There's this section called landing pages, and it's the same. You click on this create button and then click landing pages. And it will offer you all the templates that you already have on the design tools, right? So you can explore that by folders if you want to, or by favorites or purchase, or if you already know the name, you can select whatever of those you want. In my case, I'm gonna select the ones that we have for Boundify that already have some styling here, and you can preview them, right? It's give you an idea how it's going to look like, and you decide to use them, and you give a name. Let's put this one as a test, and you create a page, and right away it will give you this interface where you, as you can see, you have the name of the page. You already have the look and feel on it. It's just ready to build content on it. You have a little form here. Yeah, in this case, the way it's built is set up to have like a meeting section, a middle link, and we have some cards. These are modules that we have already pre-built. There's some social proof here, more content cards, a space for adding, a relationship of clients with, as you can see, modules for images, and the footer, which is a standard for all pages created here. And as you can see, we don't have navigation, we have just the logo. And if you want to start editing, it's quite easy. You just click on whatever section you want to work on and change it, right? This is a great landing page, right? So you can edit the content. If you want to change the background image, you can replace it, right? And it will show you all the assets that you have on your file manager. Imagine that I want to use, let's use this one here. So you apply changes, and it will do that. As you can see, you can decide what width and height do you want to use, or you can just automatically adjust it, and that will use the automatic compression, which is quite useful. Another nice feature is that it's usually recommended that you have alt text in every image, and HubSpot help you out putting as alt text the name of the file when you uploaded it to the file manager. So that's a helpful thing if you forget about that. You can even, one important thing is that even when the page is already styled, if you want to apply a specific style to the module that you have, to the section that you have, you can do it. You can change things that the padding, the margin, and in some cases, if you want to change things like the format or the color, the font, or the background, you can do so. And you have multiple options too when you are dealing with forms, for example. In this case, for example, you can put a title to the form, right? You can select the form that you're gonna use from the list of forms that you have available on HubSpot that will request different kind of information. You have the option to decide if you're gonna send people thank you for submitting the form, and you can decide if someone is going to be notified on this form, or you're going to use the default notifications that you have. You can add the form to a workflow, so you can automate what happens after they fill the form, or just send a simple follow-up email in the case, for example, of ebook download. So many options that you have here on the form, and again, everything happens inside the page itself. So depending on the module that you have, you can customize those sections and decide what's better for you, right? This, for example, work on this module. If you're going to get a look or a sense of all the areas where you can change, you can just click on this area at the left and click on the sections, and you will be able to see the options that you have available. For example, for this module, you can change the photo of the author, you can change the details, and you can change the quote they are going to show, and even the icon is available for change. So change alignments and all that. This is usually pre-built by the developer. Of course, you also have an area of settings that is very similar to the blog, where you can put a title, test landing page, and where you can select the URL that you're going to use. You have nice description, you have a meta description to help improve search engine if you're going to do that. And the same, you can tie this page to a inbound campaign, and you can add a feature image that will be used for social. That will also have some alt text here, like smart decisions, right? And if for whatever reason you don't feel happy with the template that you're using right now, you can use a different template, or you just can edit directly. Just keep in mind that when you edit a page or a template, you are editing for every single page that is using the same template. So be very careful with that. You can adjust the styling for just this page, the domain, the template. A lot of options available here. Obviously, the other thing that you have available is to optimize the content, very similar to the idea of the blog. There's a ton of recommendations. You don't have to comply to all of them. There are cases where you have something that you want to accomplish, and maybe a longer title or a shorter description will do. But it's usually, if you don't know better, is a great way to make sure that your page complies to the up to standards of SEO. Finally, just like in blog pages, you can publish a landing page right away, or you can schedule it for later on. Imagine that it's a page that contains an offer that will only trigger after a certain time. So you can just schedule that publication and it will be ready to publish right away. You can save at any time. It's usually auto saving most of the time. And until it's ready, it will be in draft. So that's how you do landing pages. Web pages are going to be very similar. The only difference is where they're going to be. And the other big difference is the analytics. Usually when you see analytics, you will be separately web pages, information from landing pages, from blog posts. But beyond that, they're pretty much the same. You will be able to organize all these pages into folders if you want to. So if you have hundreds of pages, you can organize them in a meaningful way, and it's available for web pages and for blogs. Very well. I'll stop here and see if there's any questions. Oh, we have one. Oh, Sylvia. Hi, Sylvia. You are saying we are using the CRM and want to learn more about CMS. Yeah, I guess that was the question about what do you want to accomplish today. Hopefully you can see it today. I would share a little bit on how you can improve on the CRM based on the information that you have in CMS, for sure. Finally, this section on organizing and managing your assets. So this is very important. As you can see, if you have pages, if you have blog pages, if you have images, if you have templates and modules, it can get messy quite fast. So you need a system to organize that information. It gotta be easier to make changes easily. And it gotta be relevant to the information that you already have. And also, it gotta be something that you share with the rest of the team. It gotta be a structure that everybody agrees on. And that will allow you to report information. I'll give you some ideas, some hints. For example, here, let me go to the website. You can see that we usually have a convention. For example, for web pages that usually use this WP and then kind of like describe the section with as less words as possible so people can understand what section we are. The same happens for landing pages, right? I use the LP and then I try to use a reference of what kind of content is here using dashes. For blog posts, it's a little bit different because in blogs, you pretty much organize based on the number of blogs that you have, and you don't have much of a say on the name because it matches the title. It is the way it is constructed on HubSpot. However, obviously, you have the option to decide what kind of tags you want to use and who is going to be able to publish content on the platform and all that. For design tools, my biggest recommendation is that you design on a structure of folders that allows you to manage all the assets and identify it properly. So this one that I am offering you is a good start. Let me go to it. It's going to open. There you go, right? So in our case, we decided to kind of like organize based on the type of page. And as you can see, I always use the same structure, BDF Act 2, which is the number of the theme that I purchased. And then I try to describe a little bit where this template is going to be used for. The same goes for the modules that are going to be available, right? So decide on what works for you, but keep something that can be maintained. The same goes for files and assets. This is probably the area that can get messier really fast. For example, for us, we have decided that we want the images related to blog posts in a different folder and the ones that are related to the website. So and even on website pages, I still have like a second level of structure, right? Where I put the case studies, where I put the headshots, where I put images related to the portfolio in separate areas, so we don't have a big lump of images from all the websites. So we try to organize it in this way, probably not a page level, but at least a template level, so you can have something to work on. So these are recommendations for setting it up. right? And test, look for names that are descriptive, and agree with your team what is the system you want to use, and you stick to it. Someone gotta police this and make sure that when someone deviates from it, they go back and ask, well, what's going wrong, how we can improve, so you keep consistency. Very well. Finally here, well, this is kind of like a run of the things that I was describing previously, right? So you use a convention for naming the templates. Usually it's better to work with the CMS developer because he is the one that's going to be naming them usually. And it got to be something that is descriptive for you, who are the marketer. You want to use them on the page, as you can see. Take advantage of the folders. They are available in pretty much every area. So when you already have more than 10 things of something, it's worth creating a folder and try splitting the pages and organize them on that way. Finally, on this area, be mindful of the different status that you can have for pages. Let me go here. Website and website pages. So you have available four statuses, I'm sorry. So you have a draft, which is a page that you're working on that you haven't published yet. And then you have the schedule one. As we saw, if you are going to publish a page, but this in the future, it will be on the schedule part. And until then, if for whatever reason you want to edit it again, then you will have to unschedule and then reschedule. If not, it will revert to draft. Then you will have the pages that are published, right? The ones that are live that people can be landing on. And finally, for whatever reason you unpublish something, but you don't want to delete it, which is usually a recommendation if you want to keep for a little while the history of whatever you're doing in the past, then you can archive them. And usually when you are in this view, the all website pages, you will see everything that is on draft, schedule, or publish, but you will not be able to see archive unless you directly navigate to that one. So it's a great way to have like something that is not completely deleted, but at least is not polluting your view. And similar situations you will find for landing pages and for blogs. So take advantage of that, and again, come with a convention of when and how you will have the draft pages, the schedule ones, and define the schedule with the team, and obviously decide if for whatever reason you publish a page, if you are going to have it just unpublished, which will revert to draft, or you're going to archive them or just plainly delete them so they don't take more space. Another topic that we are coming to cover right away, because we are running a little bit out of time, will be cloning on HubSpot, which is very convenient sometimes. For example, imagine that you have this landing page, right, which is offering an ebook, and you want to create a very similar one based on the same template. So if you already have a lot of the elements, one easier thing to do is just clone it. You click on this little button here, you give it a new name. Let us put here PPC ebook, and then you clone it. And there you go, right? And you will be able to change the rest of the elements, right? It will be based on the same template. It will have obviously a different URL, and you will change the description. So it will give you some elements to work on if you want to do so, to clone on that. Very well. And finally, the marketplace. I know I'm running out of time. I apologize for that. For the templates, if you feel or you have someone on the team that can develop the assets from the beginning, then that person will be in charge of creating the templates that you want to use. But if for whatever reason you don't have a developer available or want to test some ideas, then you have the marketplace, which is rich with information. It has templates for blog, for example, right? So it will offer you the templates that you will use on the blog, both for listing and the actual publications. Something that we didn't cover today, but you can purchase or download templates for emails, right? To landing pages, of course. It will offer you the system pages, like the error pages, the search results, the description preference, and all that. You can also purchase template packs, which is themes that have those components together, right? So if you want a theme that has web pages, landing pages, blog pages, and system pages that are, cohesive, that they all of them agree on the same design, then you will use this to select those template packs. And again, there's the free. Usually, the free ones are provided by HubSpot, and the paid ones are offered by other providers. For any of them, for all of them, you can always view the details and get information, some like the preview, how they look like, right? A little bit of information about the developer, the provider, how many pages does it include, and if there are reviews or people that have commented on the product, you will be able to see that too. Let me show you an example here. There you go. So you can see the reviews, you can see how many people have downloaded the content already, right? And you can read them here. So you get an idea of what people think about that piece of content. And there's always a live example, a page where you can visit and actually see how that theme or template looks like, which is obviously good to do. And you will be able to filter by that. Every single template or theme that you purchase, you will have available on the purchase section, and you can uninstall it, so you can declutter, or if for whatever reason you uninstall it and want to download it again, you can just download it here and it will restore it. If there's updates available for whatever reason, then it will offer you also the possibility of downloading that content again, so you can have an updated version of it if you want. So this is the marketplace. Explore it. And with that, we have finished. Almost on time. I think we are left only 4 minutes. Is there any other questions that you might have? I'm sorry, Sylvia, and happy to see that you were here, that we didn't cover today, how to use the CRM with the CMS. That's a great idea for our next webinar, so I will do that. And we will cover that in the next section. And if there's no questions, I appreciate everyone for coming today, or for the ones that are going to see this later. Again, my name is Emilio Garcia, Boundify. I will be happy to connect with you on LinkedIn. Visit our website and get more resources. I will try. I'm planning on doing more videos for 2020 and share more of the things related to HubSpot, demand generation, and in general, digital marketing. So I'll be happy to connect with you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.